Pistons are in big trouble. A lot of trouble. So first, like, y'all can check this video out. Y'all can go back. And I said this back in February about Detroit. I actually said it earlier than that, but that's when I said Detroit got exposed. Now, I had to make a few videos because every time Detroit whooped on the Knicks this year, there was a bunch of Pistons fans in my comments talking crazy. And almost every video I did about Detroit, I kept saying they don't concern me. And tonight showed why I wasn't concerned with them, even though I gave these reasons throughout the year. And Pistons fans agreed with me when I said they need another scorer at the deadline. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Here are the issues Detroit has. Now, I felt like they were going to take a step back this season initially because I said they lost Schroeder, they lost Hardaway, they lost Beasley. And I said those are three guys that really helped out Cade a lot. So when you need another ball handler and can give Cade some relief and he can play off the ball and get to his spots a little easier, you had Schroeder to do that. But then you also had Malik Beasley and Hardaway Jr., who can space the floor and are better at making tough shots than a Duncan Robinson or a Hurt. So I felt losing those guys was going to hurt. And throughout the season, it didn't look like it. But coming into the playoffs, and then when they played teams like San Antonio and everything like that, I was seeing how much it hurt. Because if you can bottle Cade up, then the whole team is going to struggle because they don't have anybody else that can just go get a bucket. You can't rely on Tobias Harris to be your second best scorer and expect to win a championship or expect to make a deep run. I also said Cade, his game is predictable. If he's going right, he's driving. He's going to finish right. Like, he can finish right, drive right. He doesn't shoot as well jump shots going to his right. And if he's on the left side, expect him to pull up for a jump shot. So Orlando, I'm not sure if they knew that, but they keyed in on it. So what they did was to kind of nullify his drives, they put Franz Wagner on him. So Franz is 6'10". And every time Franz came out, Cade is thinking like, okay, I got a break now. You don't, because Anthony Black's coming in and he's 6'7". And then you also got Suggs, who plays physical defense and he's really athletic. You can't just punk him. So they can make Cade struggle and make him work and contest his shots, you know, even when he scores and everything like that. But the other thing was that it was nobody else to really give him any type of help. And that's what J.B. Bickerstaff was trying to figure out. He was trying to figure out certain lineups because you saw Pistons fans like, why you take Asar Thompson out? Well, I need scoring. He can't help me score. And defensively, he's not really giving me much because the wings are too big for him. Pause. But real quick, let me get into Orlando. So talking about Orlando, like I was talking to my boy, we was actually talking about the playoffs and getting ready for the series. And he was like, well, you know, what you think about Detroit and Orlando? And at first I was like thinking like this.
How the fuck is Orlando gonna front this type of cash?
Because I was like, ain't no way they're going to beat Detroit. And not because they're not talented enough. It just felt like it was too much going on at the end of the season, like they weren't locked in. Right? And then, like, take this. Like, I made this video in, like, December. What Paolo needs to start doing. Playing out of a post. I said, take a page, be like Charles Barkley. And when I watched him play against Charlotte, he was starting everything out of the post. I'm like, yeah, okay. Starting to figure it out. Because when you put Paolo in the post, he causes issues because he's bigger than pretty much most power forwards in the league. He's going to be bigger than all the small forwards in the league. And if you put a big on him, like let's just say they put Durant on him, they call for like Bane to come and do a screen or Suggs to do a screen and roll with him. And if you don't switch, you know, he can get by Durant. Or if they do switch, he has a mismatch with a guard. So he causes all these problems just by him starting from the post, which is what I said in the video. And then the other things that started happening that started giving Detroit problems was you got to deal with Paolo, and then now you got to deal with Franz. And a lot of people don't realize this, but Detroit, even though it's a different play style, is built very similarly to the Hornets. You have a big point guard. You have a shooter like Knipple with Duncan Robinson. You have a skinny wing, small forward like Brandon Miller with Osar Thompson. You have like an undersized 4 with Miles Bridges and Tobias Harris. And you have an undersized 5. So we saw what Orlando just did to them. And they're looking at like, yo, we have the same advantages that we had against Charlotte. And then towards the end of the game, fourth quarter, they started putting Franz in the post. And that started giving them the same type of issues. So the Pistons got their hands full because what we're witnessing is an underachieving team playing against an overachieving team. And that balances out. Because Orlando is not an 8th seed. Their talent is an 8th seed talent. And they've been in playoffs. They took the Cavs 7 games a couple years ago. And they gave Boston tough games last year in the playoffs. And then you have Detroit, who was in their first time playoffs last year. They lost. And then like all season, what did I keep saying? They play like everything is games. They're a try-hard team. So you win in all these regular season games just because you're playing harder than everybody else. And there's no extra gear. Can anybody tell me, did it look like they had an extra gear tonight? That any other gear that they don't usually play with? So Detroit, you might be in trouble, dog.